Hey everybody, it's Friday. I'm still Kevin Murcko, this is still CoinMetro, and this is a little something we like to call, well, it's not just us, but this is an AMA, basically. If you're gonna ask me something, whatever it is, I'm gonna try to answer it. Kind of sound like a game show host, but that's how it works. It is Friday, which should make everybody a bit happier because, well, it's not Monday. So, right on. Hey Slava, how are you? So yeah, jump on in, ask some questions. We're live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, which is basically Twitter, and Twitch as well. Right on. Hey Oliver, nice to see you here and there and everywhere, and other places as well, I guess. Sorry guys, while I'm waiting for some questions to roll in, it's been a pretty exciting week. Oliver, actually, who just jumped into the chat here, posted a really nice update on Telegram. I think there was like 175 things in the update or something like that. And it was only a piece of basically what's been happening in the past week or so, and definitely since the beginning of the quarter as well. Lots of exciting things happening. Everybody knows about the CoinMetro bond that sold out, which was awesome. On the back of that, we decided to scope out some potential direct-to-equity investment. And we now have commitments that have oversold basically what we initially thought we were going to raise. That equity investment is pretty important because it's going to go a long way to really boost the company by acquiring an investment firm license, mainly with MTF permissions, as well as the ability to offer CFDs, options, futures, etc. Massive boost to revenues. Massive boost to the valuation of the company, probably doubling the valuation just on acquisition of the license. That's a big one. That's one that I'll be focused on over the next couple months, getting that equity fundraising completed, signed on the dotted line. I've had calls now with 3 different groups or individuals, mainly individuals, but in one case, a small group. And yeah, the amount of money that we thought we were going to raise has now been triplified. Triplified? That's not a word. It's tripled. That's what I'm trying to say. It 3x'd for all you crypto dudes and dudettes out there. It 3x'd. And now, I'm in the process of putting everything together, get that done. Obviously, we from the start have always liked to offer up those investment opportunities to everyone. All our soon-to-be clients, would-be clients, etc. This time around, because 1, it's direct to equity. 2, the sum we need to raise, or the amount of people we need to have involved, needs to be a bit smaller, simply because this money is going to go directly into a public company. A public company that's going to get a license that's pretty much, in the realm of licenses, it goes banking license, MTF license. And so bringing on, let's say, 600 people as shareholders into the group structure to then basically directly use those funds to operate in that public company, not really going to work, unfortunately. So we had to pivot a bit and do it a bit, I guess, more traditional. But we are thinking about ways that we can potentially get all of you guys exposure to ownership in the company as well. I mean, if you guys got into the bond, you already have a chance to get those growth tokens, which will be equity-like inside the parent entity, which is CoinMetro Group, which will own the public company. So you're already in. And we're going to think of ways we can do a little bit more of that in the future. I'm going to talk a bit more about the MTF and what it means for us. There'll probably be some questions that'll pop up anyway about that, I imagine. We have about 22 minutes because at 3:30 local time, I have to run. I have another meeting I have to get to. I have a meeting. I consider this kind of like a meeting, though. It's kind of like a board meeting between me and everybody else every week. So I have a meeting, so we're going to try to pack this into 22 minutes. If I don't see a specific question about MTF, and now that I mentioned it, I'm sure somebody's going to ask, I'll go into more detail of what it means for the company, what it possibly means for the future, et cetera. So, but I want to jump into some questions before we start running too much out of time. Hey, how was your week? My week was good, actually. I felt a little bit lighter. Not sure why, but lighter. But yes, but I actually felt like, some of those weeks, every week you get things done. Then there's some weeks where you feel like you got a lot done. There's some days you feel, I generally feel we got a lot done this week. From that last Friday to this Friday, I feel like quite a substantial amount of stuff has been done. Quite a substantial amount of stuff has been moved forward. So yeah, good week all in, I think. Hey Harold, how are you? Nice to see you here. Hey Lynx, one question about Americans. Are the deposit fees also just $1? If not, what are they for depositing method, and how do you compare with other American exchanges? So for ACH, instant ACH, it's $5 US. I do expect that, and the reason for that is that we are charged essentially that amount by the banking provider that does the ACH deposits. It's slightly higher. We do charge a bit more, and I'll tell you why. Normally, we don't look to make money on deposits and withdrawals, but what we need to do is cover our risk. And with ACH deposits, for example, they can be recalled, right? There's a chargeback risk, and it's quite substantial. So we need to be able to build up a reserve over time, and that's why we charge a little bit more. I think the bank, true and 100% transparency, charges us $3, and we charge $5. And the extra $2 basically is there to give us a bit of a buffer. So when there are chargebacks, when people do bad things and deposit and say they didn't, or deposit by Bitcoin and then pull their money out of their bank accounts so that we don't get paid. We have to make sure that we can cover those things. Obviously, we do everything we can to make sure that those type of individuals never even make it to the point that they can deposit, but it happens. Though the bank as a service provider that provides us the ACH instant access has changed banks to a much, much, much better bank. And they just did that last Friday. What I've noticed now is that where it used to take on average 2 to 3 business days for an ACH to actually post to our account, and sometimes up to 10 business days, ridiculous. Now we see them posting same business day or 1 business day later. The most I've seen this week is 2 business days. That's amazing. I also believe this bank has a different pricing scheme, so we should be getting a discount from our provider in the short term, and we will pass that right on to everyone else. And if we truly do see that the risk for ACH reversals has now fallen to almost 0, we will reduce that buffer as well. So I don't see it going maybe to 1, though that would be great. And if we can do it, we'll do it. But I expect it to go down from the 5 that it is right now. For domestic wire, the fee at the previous bank through the service provider was I think 10 on receipt, or 20, maybe, and then 25 going out, something like that. And I'm going to look into that as well, because the new bank definitely has a different fee structure. So actually, I'm going to ping them after the AMA and ask them when they're going to make the adjustments. How do we compare? To be fair, I've never really used that many exchanges based in the U.S. As a U.S. citizen, I generally try to avoid doing business with financial institutions based in the U.S. Because I don't live there, it makes a much more complicated tax structure than I'd like to deal with. It's already complicated being a U.S. citizen. I mean, you're taxed on all your worldwide income, no matter where you live. But the more you touch U.S. soil, the worse it is. So I don't really deal with American exchanges. However, obviously Coinbase, I think, Coinbase may have, I don't know if they do free, they might even do free ACH. It's possible. What I would say is that you get what you pay for. So we obviously have 24/7 support. We obviously have support. You can get support right from me. In fact, in the last 2 days, I've dealt directly with 2 specific clients that had an issue to rectify that issue, where it went from a client not being too happy to a client being very happy. And we try to do that with every client, and that's our goal. And Coinbase doesn't have that goal in their list of goals. But it's definitely something that we do, not to mention the fact that our platforms are more feature rich, et cetera. Not to mention the fact that we simply, I think, are building just a better infrastructure. However, we definitely want to beat them on deposit fees as well, and we will get there. We will get there because right now we have great. We usually look for and try to find great partners. Sometimes those partners are great, but they're going through growing pains. And as a startup, and as an owner of many startups, and CoinMetro is going through its own set of growing pains. Those who have been here since ICO know those pains all too well. All companies go through growing pains, but at some point they mature and they move forward. And some of the providers that we hook up to sometimes have growing pains. Our USD provider had a bit of growing pains, but now they're maturing. And things are getting much better, and we will stick with them and help them make them get even better to the point where we're able to offer our clients the best service. Sometimes to get the best service, you have to help the service provider get the best service. And that's something that we try to do. We're not only there for our clients, we're also there for our providers. Hey Kev, is CM selling XCM at the moment? Nope, we are not. Please give us some XCM staking updates if you could. Don't really have any XCM staking updates right now, only to say that we are on track. So we're on track. Things are getting worked on as they should. We expect to launch staking right in line with the roadmap. We still haven't yet. Look, Treasury, we're going through and seeing where Treasury sits. We do need to transition staking rather quickly from Treasury paid to actually paid based on income. And that income is going to come from XCM and other assets being used as collateral on TRAM and on margin. It's going to come from lending and borrowing, et cetera. So all those things are in the works, and all those things need to happen in pretty rapid succession after we introduce staking. We do not want to be paying staking out of Treasury for 6 months or a year. We want to do it maybe 3 to 6 months max. Once we hit that 6 months, we need to have things in place that can basically sustain staking without needing to dip into Treasury. And the hope is that we're going to start maybe here with the staking rewards. And once we start to actually implement the systems that are needed so that we can sustain those rewards, we expect them to actually go higher, not lower. How's the custodial accounts for miners coming along? Nice question. Not on the front burner, so I actually don't have any update on that one. I think we've been looking at joint accounts, and we're about to launch, corporate account. We've had corporate accounts for some time, company accounts, but we haven't had a automated way or a way that someone can go in and actually apply without having to go through compliance with paperwork, et cetera. So we're working to get that done. I think after that, joint accounts are something we're going to look into as well. At the same time, we can do minor accounts. I don't see a reason why we couldn't, though I would say we're probably looking at Q3. For something like that to take place, because we have a lot on the schedule that is much more meaningful in terms of the business. And this is a really cool feature, and I have kids, and I would definitely throw some crypto into those accounts for my kids. And so it's something that I think is cool, and we're going to do it. But definitely from a business side, it's not going to necessarily change the business in any shape or form over the short term. So there's definitely things that we're doing in Q1, Q2, and in the beginning of Q3 that will do that. But we're going to get to it. Already live and talking bizdev. That's the spirit. Yep. Bizdev. I don't think Jet Fuel's asked the question yet, but definitely some news on bizdev. In talks with a large platform based out of Germany that wants to be a Revolut challenger. They're looking for someone to support their crypto side of the business. We've been in talks now for a bit of time. Maybe a month or two. I think we're pretty close to finally coming to a deal, and that could come to fruition pretty quickly, maybe even in March, where we start to actually see them send us volumes. It'll be pretty interesting. They're going to use basically API endpoints we created for our dashboard widget. They're going to use those to basically populate their own crypto product inside of their own apps for their own clients. Interesting. So that's a new bizdev point. Obviously, we're about to launch, as I said already a few times, this business-to-business service of legal KYC, onboarding of companies. Natural KYC or individual KYC will come afterward, which will sit on a separate white labelable or service domain. So we'll be able to offer that out to companies. And we're also planning to start to work on essentially an API-powered widget so that we can compete with these self-standing fiat onboarding gateways. So basically, if I said basically a lot, what am I saying basically for? I don't know. I must have saw something where some dude said basically or read it. Now I think I just said it 19 times in like 4 minutes. I hate when people do that. You ever watch like the news or something and the guy says the same word like 15 times? Fucking annoying. So sorry, I'm going to try not to say basically, except for that, to explain that I don't want to say it again for the rest of this show. All right, here we go. So essentially, what we're looking to do is, create a widget, make that widget API powered. And this way, if you have a business or if you're a merchant, you want to accept crypto, or you're a platform that accepts crypto, but you don't accept fiat, it's going to give you a way to do that. If you remember, we talked about Paxful. That's going to be something that Paxful will be interested in as well once we roll that out. Can I cash out my bond in 2 years? When can I cash out my bond in 2 years? Can I cash out half XCM, half equity? Hey, Sarah, so you can cash out the bond actually at any point you wish, in that once the secondary market is launched, which is scheduled to launch by the end of this month, you can sell those bonds to somebody else and cash out. If you hold them to maturity, that's that 2 year period, you're going to have to choose. There's no 50-50, unfortunately. You're either jumping into XCM or you're jumping into equity, one or the other. That's how we have it set up now. We may decide to change that and allow some type of mixed redemption, let's say mixed redemption and conversion. It's possible. The growth token terms are not even created yet. They won't be created probably for another 6 months to a year because there's no reason to have them yet because there's no ability to convert. So we may actually have a hybrid. And a few people have asked us about that. Currently right now, or I shouldn't say currently, when the offer was made, the idea was redemption or conversion, one or the other. However, I don't see any barriers really for us to offer a hybrid, except for administrative and maybe some technical stuff that would need to be done to make that possible. But there's time to do it. So we will see what happens over the next year or so to see how we do that in the next 2 years. If and when you offer IBAN accounts to your clients, will there be taxed under Estonian banking laws? So when we offer IBAN accounts to our clients, taxed under Estonian, bank accounts aren't taxed except the interest paid on bank account. Bank accounts aren't taxed, income is taxed. So there's a big difference there, even though it doesn't sound like it. They would not be issued by an Estonian company. They'd be issued by our EMI agent licensed Lithuanian entity through a passport into Estonia. So my answer to that is more than likely no, they would not fall necessarily under Estonian tax jurisdiction. However, again, bank accounts aren't taxed. Income is taxed. When PRQ staking? Good question. We haven't had a million people. Well, PRQ has its own staking method, right? So I guess you're referring to the IQ protocol that they're looking to launch here for staking. We haven't yet had any real discussions with them about how they would want or if they want to integrate it with CoinMetro. When those discussions happen, I'll be able to answer this question. Well, I'll be able to answer this question because right now I really can't. Could we offer PRQ staking like we do for Link and Quant? We could. Are we going to? Depends on how many people ask for it. So I'll type this down crispy as 1. You know, like 1. And we'll wait to see how many more people potentially ask for PRQ stake. Any update on marketing? Yeah, lots of updates on marketing, actually. Lots of things going on in marketing. We've been changing the way that we kind of work internally from a departmental structure to a team structure. We're working on setting up OKRs. Those OKRs go across teams. We're working on projects in multiple teams rather than departmentalizing projects. So far, so good. I think things are starting to move in even a more streamlined direction than they were previously. Marketing is currently working with someone that I brought in as a consultant that I worked with in the past. That's helping fine-tune some of the marketing strategies. As well, we also have some great people that have come on from our community, Dread Bongo, as well as Cody and a few other people as well that have been helping out on really starting to kind of really focus on both sides of marketing. When I say both sides, you have your crypto marketing, your token marketing, your this is XCM, this is why it's awesome. And even in that same light, crypto marketing as in, you know, memes and kind of fun things on Twitter, et cetera, that don't necessarily fall over into traditional marketing, even traditional digital marketing. So you need to focus on both sides. And now we're trying to look to attack both sides. I expect within the next 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to see a very different marketing strategy coming out of CoinMetro. You're going to see CoinMetro in more places. You're going to see different types of content coming out. You're going to see lots of changes. And I think those changes are going to be for the better. Thank you, Johnny. Really enjoying CoinMetro. Thank you, yes, but maybe. Have moved over primarily to CoinMetro from Binance. Only have one problem. I can't deposit fiat, so I have to buy ETH from Binance to send to CoinMetro. Well, my question would be, why can't you deposit fiat? We obviously allow it. I assume maybe, I mean, we have SEPA via Euro. We have SEPA, or SEPA Euro. We have Swift Euro. We have faster payments in the UK. We have USD domestic. We have USD ACH domestic. We have USD international via Swift. We have Australian dollars via Swift. What else we got floating around? And we will be adding more. So let me know why you can't deposit fiat and let's fix that. Already went over some bizdev news, so I'm going to skip that one, jet fuel, but I think you got a little tidbit of what you were looking for. Hey, Brian, how are you? Glad to see you here. Do you have any info about DNA since it got listed this week? How is the collaboration with EncryptGen CoinMetro going to look like? Sure. So I don't necessarily have the news I have is, well, token swap was successful. So that was awesome. We were able to get trading live after the swap. Also awesome. We saw a lot of new price discovery on DNA, which was great. It's trailed back a bit, but it's still trading well above where it was before it was talked about on CoinMetro. So I think you were starting to see the power of CoinMetro. You know, in 2017-18, you saw the power of Binance, the power of Coinbase. Now, if you notice, when things get listed on Binance or Coinbase, they don't see the same pop that they used to back in 2017-18. I think CoinMetro is now getting a little bit of stride behind it. And when we list things that we think are going to do well, they generally get a decent sized boost. Now, obviously, these are usually small projects because we look for things that it's before they really go mainstream. So liquidity and all those things play a part. But yeah, so aside from how we're going to work together, I expect to have an AMA, maybe an hour and a half with David, CEO of EncryptGen. We were going to try to do it today, actually, but my schedule just got ridiculous and I didn't really have time. And I'm traveling tomorrow and I'm traveling on Thursday next week. Maybe we can get it done between Monday and Wednesday. If not, perhaps Friday next week. But we'll let you guys know at least a few days beforehand of when it's going to happen so you guys can tune in. You know, we're going to be here. We're going to do some treasury management, I think, for DNA, for EncryptGen. Obviously, have their bond that's currently running. We're helping them out with that. I think there's going to be more collaboration in the future. Potentially with the widget I talked about, that B2B widget, because that's going to allow EncryptGen to be able to accept different types of currencies to be able to buy DNA inside their marketplace. So and there could be even more than that, but that's definitely where we're going to start. That's where we'll start. How am code? Yeah. Explain MTF. Right on. All right, we got 4 minutes, guys. I'm going to have to pack this one into 4 minutes. There's a lot more questions, probably 30 of them that I can't get to right now. What I'd love is that after I answer this question, I'm going to do my goodbyes. Unfortunately, I got to get to another meeting. But please tag me on Telegram at Kevin Murcko or tweet me at Kevin Murcko on Twitter and just hit me up with your question. Telegram is better for the questions. Do it inside of our group. Do it inside at CoinMetro, inside our channel. This way other people can see the questions and they can benefit from the answers as well. And I will get to you after 7 or 8 p.m. this evening after I finish up with my day's calls. So now the MTF question. Here we go. So MTF. Multilateral trading facility. Yay! Nobody knows what that means. Okay. So what an MTF does, what it is it's a permission in Estonia under an investment firm license that allows a company to trade in transferable securities. So any security that's transferable, tradable between two parties, you can trade in. It also allows you to run a matching engine. Matching engine meaning that there is a place that automatically matches orders from one participant to another. So that's essentially what we're doing already with crypto. This would allow us to do it just like we're doing under the Montenegro Sandbox license, would be to trade securities inside of a matching engine and do it across Europe, passport it across Europe, and be able to advertise and solicit from retail and institutional alike all across the European continent. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, under that investment firm license, not only do we have MTF permissions, but we have CFDs, futures, options, derivatives, etc. It allows us to really start to delve into products that others may offer, but don't do so compliantly, or others may not offer at all. Think about a user experience. Now, if you look at GameStop and the Reddit guys and AMC stock and all these pumps, they did that using options. Options are starting to become more and more prevalent in the retail market. And options inside of a traditional space are hard to understand. Platforms are difficult usually to use and to understand as well. That's why most people lose money on options. Imagine a platform that will allow you to choose between maybe an option or trading a future, or whether that be a future that's going to roll over, whether that be a future that basically expires, etc. But give it to you in a way that you can actually consume that data and figure out what you want to do and figure out which one can actually potentially give you less risk or maybe more profitability. Amazing. So being able to offer all these things under one license is quite cool. It allows us to take that Montenegro Sandbox with the digital securities marketplace and the secondary market, port it over into Europe. It allows us to start to expand on different platforms, both for retail and for eventually institutional. It will increase our valuation from currently what it was in the last round, which was 50 million. It's going to increase it at least to 100 million. at a minimum. It'll put us on track to get that $250 million valuation by the end of 2022, early 2023. And outside of all that, which is already super cool, just on leverage trading alone, right now we offer 5-to-1. We may offer a bit more in the future. I think we will get closer to 10-to-1, at least on some pairs. I mean, may limit that, like we've been limiting now to 10K collateral, but we may go, I don't know, let's say 10X up to 10K or 20K, and then above that it's 5X, above something else it's 3X, whatever. We're getting to that, guys. We're gonna start pushing out some news, by the way, about increased collateral and all that good stuff over the next few weeks. However, what it will allow us to do is basically 5X our overall revenues immediately upon acquiring that license. Now, obviously, it takes some time to implement the license. It's not the next day, but that will literally increase our revenue like this overnight, because it'll allow us to offer increased leverage. It'll also allow us to offer increased leverage on securities. So that means your bonds, your equities, your convertibles, tradable on margin, meaning more liquidity, meaning more companies want to come in and tokenize their shares. So, and repos, then we can offer repos. If you don't know what a repo is, it's basically credit to sell something you don't know, essentially. Yeah, lots of great things from that MTF license. We're at the 30 mark. I'm gonna have to say goodbye, guys. I apologize. I love doing these things. I would have stayed for the whole hour, but I can't. I have another meeting I have to get to, and unfortunately that meeting is weekly and I've missed like 4 of them. So can't miss this one, because that'd be 5, and then that's just a slap in the face. So I appreciate everybody coming here. I appreciate all the questions. There's a lot more of them. Please go into Telegram, go into our channel at CoinMetro, tag me at Kevin Murcko, hit me up with your question. I will respond with a voice message in the next 4 to 5 hours. Thank you, everybody, for being here. As I always say, it is Friday, so try to spend time with friends and family. Take some time off during the weekend. If you can't do it physically, do it virtually. And while you're doing it virtually and you're on that Zoom call or you're on that Skype call, people still use Skype? I think grandma still uses Skype. Anyway, you're talking to somebody on that call. You're trying to see how they're doing, making sure that they're not, isolated and feeling blue because they're all by themselves in some house in the middle of the woods. That I think happens here in Estonia. So call your family member in the middle of the woods. Let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know, if you're the best way to kind of lift up your spirits during a pandemic is, buying XCM, and just spread the word, because make everybody happy. I think that's just a good thing to do, especially during these really hard times. So anyway, guys, just aside, have a great weekend. Again, tag me on Telegram at Kevin Murcko. Get in our channel, ask some questions. I will answer them. Hit me up on Twitter at Kevin Murcko, and see you guys next week. Cheers.